Hello everybody, my name is Cryo and welcome to my guide on how to play Beat Performer. So this specific guide is going to go over the Dissonance spec, which is the left side choice here, Dissonance. So this is more of your kind of like do damage to heal spec on Beat Performer. So this will be the one that we're covering, and I'll start off by going down my talent tree. Keep in mind I'm at 64 talents at the time of recording this, so your build may vary a little bit as we go down. So first things first, we are going to focus on the top 3. You want all of these, mainly because this is just an insane buff for your team. The 7 chapter does so much for your team. It's going to help you get those breaks a lot quicker, which lets you have more nuke phases. And it's really handy for your entire team in general. And so this procs when we use Heroic Melody. I'll go over the skills once we've gone through the talents, over what works best for me. In the middle, we have Sound Ablaze, which is gain 1 sound wave energy every time you deal damage equal to 10 times attack. Sound wave energy stores up to 50. So this is going to help us kind of maintain things like our Heroic Melody, which gives us like a whole bunch of buffs. So we want to keep that up as much as we can. A lot of these will kind of make more sense as we move down the tree and as I discuss the skills as well. Of course, on the right side, we have Trio Rhapsody, which is Rhapsody of Flame always appears in its most powerful form, and while in Rhapsody of Flame, healing is 20% more. I mean, of course, we need this, more healing is good stuff. But also, Rhapsody of Flame is going to be used so much in this rotation, because later on we have a talent that will basically give it a chance to come back off cooldown immediately. So, in the right situations, you can actually have about, just 3 or 4 of these up really quickly, and you're going to get some high burst damage and a lot of healing. Okay, next we're going to focus on going down the left side here to the luck multiplier. Luck is such an important stat in this build that kind of anything that enhances it is going to be great. So every 1% luck grants 0.5% lucky strike damage multiplier. So this is just going to make sure that we do more damage with our lucky strikes, and that in turn just makes us do more healing. Easy stuff. Okay, going across on more here. So hitting a target with Fierce Strike recovers 5 performance energy. Each additional target hit provides an extra 1, up to 10 total. So Fierce Strike is what your primary attack turns into after a certain amount of hits while in Heroic Melody. But again, I'll cover all this, so don't worry too much about that. Just know that whilst you're kind of spamming your your left click attack or your primary attack, depending on what controller you use, while you have Heroic Melody up, occasionally it'll change to Fierce Strike, and then you do kind of a big swing hit that heals for quite a lot, does a lot of damage, and of course with this talent will give you back performance energy. Going to the mid, we're going to have a Restart, which is when Harmonic Anthem or Fierce Strike triggers a Lucky Strike, limited to a single activation when striking targets, immediately resets Rhapsody of Flame. So this is what I was talking about with the Rhapsody of Flame getting reset. It also causes Rhapsody of Flame not to consume Performance Passion, which again is one of the resources, and I'll go over that a little bit later. After that, we're going to go down to the right side, which is Basic Attack deals an extra instance of damage. We like this because it is going to resonate with our Sound Ablaze, this one here. So every time you deal 10 instances of damage, you gain 1 sound wave energy. So just doubling up on our primary attack is just gravy, to be honest. Now, we're going to ignore the right side of talents, but I'll go over them just for the sake of argument. So going down this route leads us to kind of use Center Stage instead of Encore, and I don't really play Center Stage. It's not a bad skill at all. You can swap that out with Encore. They are kind of interchangeable. I just prefer Encore personally. Okay, so after that, we're going to move down to this talent here from Healing Note. So go to this one, Healing Note first, and then we'll go straight down to Resonance Counterpoint. So Healing Note is what I was talking about, where the basic attack does an extra instance of damage. And for every 5 sound wave energy that you obtain, you create a note. So what a note is, it's kind of like a little green orb that will hover around an ally, and it will heal them. It just sits on them. It's like a little kind of little dot, or a little hot even, sorry, I suppose, that sits on them. And if it applies to them again, it just heals the remaining healing that was left of the previous note. So this is really ideal. Just kind of gives you a little bit of group healing, kind of like just passively. So that's always decent. Like I said, that leads us down to resonant counterpoint, is when a note forms, there's a 50% chance to create an extra note on a different target. This is fixed, so you can't really increase this in any ways. The only way this is going to go up really is like if you have higher attack speed and you're just applying notes quicker in general. But this is still really good. Again, this just gets more notes out onto the party, and this is just kind of like an overall healing increase. Just passively, just doing your rotation as normal. This is just increasing healing across the board. Okay, back up to these three. So this one is a little bit interesting. This changes our ultimate from Rock the Stage to Infinite Rhapsody. So Rock the Stage is, if you've played any of this at all, it's kind of like a 3 like wave heal kind of thing. You like jump in the air and you strum the guitar like 3 times and it heals everyone around you. When it changes to Infinite Rhapsody, it becomes just a 1 kind of thing. So you don't get stuck in this animation, which is really nice. All that happens is you do this kind of 1 strum and bam, it heals everybody around you, gives them a shield that slowly decays over time. And it doubles your performance passion cap and fully restores it, which is really nice because this allows us to go into kind of like a burst phase as well in our own damage. Left from that, we have Blaze and Heal. Stores the excess healing up to 500% of max HP. That's of your own max HP. And then when you activate Heroic Melody, it consumes all that, and it just heals everyone around you. Okay, so this is really good because we basically will get into this rotation of using our Heroic Melody kind of every sort of like 8 to 10 seconds. And we need to be able to have the kind of regen to sustain that, which can be difficult. But between that, we're just going to be spam healing because we're just doing a DPS rotation. This entire kind of class is just based around doing a DPS rotation. So you're just going to be, like, a lot of this stuff is just happens while you're doing the rotation, which is really nice. On the left here, we have Indomitable Chord, which is while Heroic Melody is active, grants super armor to everyone, increases damage reduction by 25%, and boosts movement speed by 10%. So super armor stops you from getting knocked back is basically the short version there. You can't be knocked back, knocked airborne, or knocked down. If you know when to use this, you can stop everyone getting flung around during a fight, and that's really nice. Okay, back to the middle. Here we have a Flame Note, which is when you use an expertise skill, Rhapsody of Flame will erupt with rhythm, dealing magic damage equal to 100% of your attack and granting note to allies it touches. So your expertise skills are kind of any of your skills that use the numbers, like that aren't the kind of main 3 that are locked in. So not your left click, not your 1, and not your ultimate. Every other skill past that is considered an expertise skill. On the left side here, Encore Persistence. Encore Persistence is really nice because it means we permanently benefit from Encore effect. And Encore grants you super armor, which is that immunity to knockback. And then each time we use a offensive or healing expertise skill, we have a 50% chance to trigger Encore Strings. And what Encore Strings does is it basically just triggers like an extra instance of damage or healing. And I mean, if it triggers an extra instance of damage, it triggers an extra instance of healing because, as I've said, our damage is our healing. So, for every 5 triggers of Encore Strings, the next Amplified Beat or Harmonic Anthem deal 50% damage. These 2 are kind of our bread and butter of the DPS part of our build, so having these 2 do more damage is just bueno. Okay, so down here we have Sonic Therapy, which is converted healing from damage is plus 20% targets affected by no. So as I was saying a bit earlier, we try and get no on everyone we can. And this basically just increases our healing on them. So like we just convert more of our damage to healing on them by 20% when they have a note on them. Again, this is just very passive healing, you know, like it's just ideal. Okay, going down the left tree, we did Encore Persistence. Encore Sharp Strike. So triggering Encore Strings to deal damage or healing grants 2 performance energy. Again, performance energy is something we're going to have to try and like, keep up during the whole thing. If the Encore Strings triggers from a Lucky Strike, it grants 3 additional performance energy. This is insane. This is why luck is also such a huge part of this build. Luck is something that you have to kind of like really build into, and I'll go over that in a little bit. So moving down, we have Encore Luck Boost. Every 1% luck chance grants 1% trigger chance for Encore strings. Again, I don't need to explain why this is decent, but you know, we Encore strings is like really good. So luck, we'll go over it. And Finale Command. So within 10 seconds of casting Encore, each use of Rhapsody of Flame causes targets affected by Encore to trigger Encore strings. So this just forcefully triggers Encore strings for us. Like, we get into this rotation of being able to Encore and then hopefully have Rhapsody of Flame come off cooldown. Well, not come off cooldown, sorry, like reset its cooldown even a few times. And this will let us, like, this is a huge burst of healing and damage for you. And kind of once you get into the flow of things, and, you know, it's kind of funny because beat performer, but once you get into the flow of it, it does insane damage. It does just insane healing. It is incredibly strong in 5 people content. So if you're getting ready to do master dungeons this next week coming up, definitely a very fun class to try. Okay, so that is all the talents I have for now. I think I have another 2 to get today with this video going up. And for argument's sake, I would probably grab Flames Rampage, because again, that's just going to buff our Rhapsody of Flame a bit more. And that's just what we want. That's what we want. That's the good stuff. The good stuff. And then I'd probably go into these 2, which is Encore Chain and Concerto. Just because Encore Chain is really strong. Again, when Encore Strings triggers, it activates a second time on the same target. That could be like a lifesaver in some situations. And Concerto is just during Rhapsody of Flame, Amplified Beat gains 1 additional attack, but it does 20% less damage overall. But, you know, it does like an extra hit, so the trade-off is vastly worth it. Okay, that was a lot of talking about talents. I'm going to move on to the skills that I use. We're going to run ourselves over to the training dummy. And then I will talk about our skills. So, of course, as I said, these are the 3 that are fixed. Anything below this is the expertise skills. So your first 3, String Strike is just your kind of standard left click. It's a nice little 3-hit combo. Now, when being in Dissonance Spec, if you don't hit anything... Oh, look, there's the little note I was talking about, by the way. If that's on somebody, they're taking more healing from you. But yeah, so if you haven't hit anybody for 5 seconds, that's the wrong key. We have a buff called Healing of Stillness, which is behind my head here. I'm in the way. If you deal no damage to enemies for 5 seconds, each hit of your basic attack will heal up to 10 party members, with a full 4-hit combo restoring 15% of their max HP in total. Okay, so I don't hit anybody for a while, and then start doing it. We have this like little nice 4-hit combo. You can see it's healing. This isn't the ideal way to heal, to be honest. It doesn't heal that much, honestly. But with enough haste, and honestly, just for while we're talking about it, I would honestly aim to try and get about 20% haste and about 30% luck if you can. That's kind of like, after that, you're kind of free to do whatever you want with the other stats. But try and get 20% haste and 30% luck. That's the ideal kind of thing. But anyway, I digress. This isn't like the biggest heal, but if you're in a fight where, say, the boss jumps off for a bit, goes into like an immune phase where you can't attack him, this is kind of going to be a little bit of your lifesaver. You know, just kind of try and spam this and keep everyone like slightly topped up. You can also use Rhapsody of Flame if the boss isn't there. It's not great when it doesn't hit anything, like it's not the best, but it might just save some lives. It might just save your party just long enough. So yeah, that's kind of the only downside with this class, is that when you don't have anything to hit, your healing is severely reduced. But you do still have some tricks up your sleeve, so do keep those in mind. Anyway, back to our skills. So yeah, Amplified Beat is our kind of like bread and butter. And I will say the tooltip for this is bugged at the moment. It's actually showing the same thing as the ultimate, which it shouldn't be doing. But what this actually does is just a kind of overhead whack with the guitar, which does damage, and it helps us get stacks into our next skill, which is Harmonic Anthem. This is what they're going to be. These two are going to be what you synergize with, essentially. So every time you cast Amplified Beat, and this is up to 3 times, you can see kind of at the bottom here, I now have 3 stacks. And when I get 3 stacks, my 2 lights up, like it's ready to go. And this is like an overhead leap, but it does an extra hit, like an extra sound wave comes out of the attack for every stack you've used of Amplified Beat before. So if I do 1, it does 1 extra attack. If I do 2, then 2 extra attacks. And then, of course, 3 is 3. So we want to be using kind of 3 of those to get the most out of our, out of our 2 as much as we can here. As much as we can out of Harmonic Anthem. Basically, we just need to use this to buff this, because this is going to be a good healing source when we have it. So the skills I use, I'm going to go over all the ones I use. You can see them marked, but I'll go over them anyway. So we did those. Rhapsody of Flame is the other important one. If you haven't picked that up from the talents, you know it's pretty obvious it was coming. Rhapsody of Flame, it consumes 5 of your Performance Passion, which is the notes down here, by the way. It consumes 5 of these to leave a graffiti on the ground. But as you've seen from the talents, this has a lot of bonuses tied to it, which is going to let you do insane amount of instances of damage. So you kind of always want to be trying to keep this down as much as you can, and then doing your rotation of the others. Yeah, moving on from there, we have our buff abilities, which is Heroic Melody and Encore. You're going to basically open the fight with these every time. So basically every time you get into a fight, it's going to be pop Encore if you can. This basically just gives everyone super armor, like the knockback resistance, basically. And then it starts allowing you to trigger Encore strings. You're going to try and keep this up as much as you can. Basically, as soon as it's off cooldown, if you're still in combat, pop it again. You obviously have this effect just perfectly fine. You can also, if you know that you're about to get a break, or there's going to be a moment in the fight where you and your team are allowed to just kind of like wail into the boss with everything, you can save it for that point in time. Like if it's like a few seconds off cooldown, you know that thing's about to come. You know that phase is about to happen. You can just pop it then, and it just gives everyone kind of a bit more damage during that window. Heroic Melody is the same kind of deal. You're going to be casting this kind of roughly every 8 to 10 seconds. And as I was talking about a bit before when we were going over the talents, it's every 7 seconds, your String Strike transforms into Fierce Strike. So this is when it turns into kind of the different swing. I don't know if I can show it on here, but we'll see. If you watch my left click down here, there we go. It changed and it turns into like a swing like that. That does a lot more damage and a lot more healing. And basically all around is just really good. It's just a lot of this class is just kind of like passive things happening. It's a lot of reactive gameplay. If you're kind of somebody who you like seeing buttons light up and then you hit them as soon as they are, this is kind of the build for it, to be honest. This is the class you want to play. Yeah, in priority of ranking these up, I have gone with focusing on Harmonic Anthem, which is going to be kind of like, as I said, one of our main sources of damage and healing, of course. Rhapsody of Flame, which again is just kind of like it comes up quite a lot, so we want to use this as much as possible. We want it to be doing as much damage and healing as possible. And then I decided to go for String Strike just because this evolves into Fierce Strike as well, and you'll be using this a lot between. So it's just kind of a good way to help kind of generate your performance passion and your performance energy. And, you know, we need that. We need that. That's the good stuff. As I said, there is a build that revolves around using Center Stage over Encore. That is up to you guys if you want to use that. I personally just kind of didn't enjoy it. It kind of buffs us personally. It makes us stronger, and the next 2 skills that you cast will have different effects. So 5-fold Crescendo, which is the heal, will double the healances. Heroic Melody will be like, it'll take 4 seconds instead of 7 to trigger your Fierce Strike. Harmonic Anthem will be doubled in damage, and Passion Burst allows you to cast it without charging it. Since I don't really use Passion Burst, I wasn't too fussed about this. I mean, the damage bonus is nice because our damage does get converted into healing, so this is entirely viable of a move. I don't want to, like, say to people, oh, you can't use this, you can't use this. You can. It will require some talent changes. Like, down the right side here, kind of focuses a bit more on center stage. So, like, center stage, each performance passion consumed reduces the cooldown. When casting center stage, immediately extend Heroic Melody. So in this situation, you would cast Heroic Melody first before center stage. And then, of course, when you use center stage, the number of enhanced skills increases from 1 to 2. So, yeah. That's like another build you can go for. That's up to you if you want to try that one. I'm perfectly happy with Encore. I just like how it plays. So to go over, just to give a breakdown, because I feel like I've been talking about a lot, and I want to talk over kind of like just kind of a basic rotation for you. So every fight you go into, as I said, you're going to try and pop Encore at the start of it. Then we're going to pop Heroic Melody. Then our plan here is to just try and keep up the graffiti as much as we can. Rhapsody of Flame. And between that, we'll be spamming our 1s till we get like 3 stacks, and then our 2 will light up there. And again, use your Rhapsody of Flame whenever it comes off. If it gets refreshed, use it. Now, if you notice people are dying and you don't have 3 stacks of the Harmonic Anthem, you can just use it anyway. Like, don't feel like you have to hold it until 3. If somebody's kind of low HP, then, you know, pop it. Okay, yeah. So, one last thing I am going to very quickly go over. Well, actually 2 things that kind of like, they go into each other a little bit. First thing I want to go over very quickly is just stats. I did mention before, so you want about 20% haste, as this increases the healing ticks, like the healing tick rate on our Heroic Anthem, which is Heroic Melody. Even don't know why I called it Heroic Anthem, not Harmonic. I literally mixed up the 2 names. But Heroic Melody, it increases the tick rate on our Heroic Melody. So much information, my brain is going, bro. But yeah, so having that 20% haste breakpoint gives us more healing ticks on this, which is really nice. So as you can see here on the actual thing, the interval is affected by haste. So we want this. It's good. It's good. More heals, more damage, more buff. Good stuff. And then, as I said, luck at about 30%, because this enhances kind of a lot of our stuff in the talent tree, especially down the left side here, where it is this one. So 1% luck chance grants 1% trigger chance for Encore strings. This is just bonus healing and bonus damage, just for lack of better words, coming out of your wazoo. Okay, so the last thing I want to go over real quick before we wrap this up, I've been talking for a long time, and if you stuck through this with me, thank you so much, is the battle imagines. So one of the best ones you want to get is the Brigand Leader, and this is because when you put him down, he puts down like an axe in the ground when you summon him, and this gives you and everyone around you an attack boost. And the passive for it is whenever a lucky strike is launched, the lucky effect may be activated, which applies a burn effect to the target, dealing fire attack damage equal to like a % attack for 5 seconds. You know what I can do? I can actually move myself out of the way so you guys can see this. There we go. I'm out of the way. You can see the passive effect there. And, you know, that's going to kind of really come into play. It's going to help you deal in like more damage, which again, more healing. And it all works into each other. Now, back up there. The second one I use at the moment, just because it's easier to obtain, is the Muku Scout. So the Muku Scout, when you summon him, he will chase down the target and will swing at it like crazy. But the passive is what we're here for, really. So once you deal damage 10 times in a row, which we can do very easily because we have like extra hits on our like primary attack, and kind of you just attack very fast in this class. In this class, you are just rapidly throwing out attacks. So, dealing damage 10 times in a row within 3 seconds grants a buff that increases attack by whatever percent, stacking up to 3 times. And then when we pop him, it immediately we gain the full passive effects and the stat count is doubled for 20 seconds. So, yeah, again, they're really good, strong ones. If you do want a third one that isn't kind of like just an epic rarity, you want like another idea for kind of another legendary one to use, I would recommend Tina. So Tina just gives you like passive intellect, 6%. That's not that bad, but she reduces the skill cooldowns of yourself and all your allies for like 50% for 20 seconds. Your stuff is coming off cooldown 50% quicker. It's really good. It's really good. Okay, that is pretty much all I have to cover in this. If you do want a couple like runners up in this, so another decent one you can use if you don't want to farm legendaries is the Lizardman Hunter, which again is another pretty easy one to get. So when you summon him, he deals magic damage and he increases your luck and lucky strike chance. As you know, luck is super important in this build. It gives us a 10% luck hit bonus. I'm trying to weave out of the way as I talk about it. But his passive as well is like when a lucky strike is launched. I'm just going to move myself again because I'm just in the way there. I'm just in the way. So when a lucky strike is launched, the lucky effect may be activated, performs a thunder strike, dealing thunder damage equal to our attack. Again, not a terrible thing at all. And the last one I would recommend on here, again, if you're just trying to go for kind of like ones that aren't too hard to farm, is the Shadow Captain. So this gives us, when you pop him, you transform into him and you fire like an electric grenade that deals damage. This then increases the damage and healing of our expertise skills, which, you know, again, it isn't terrible. It's quite an easy one to farm. And the Muku Scout at the moment isn't easy to farm, but you can farm other ones and break them down to try and get him. Okay, that is pretty much everything I have to talk about with this. I've been talking for like, like nearly half an hour. Thank you guys so much if you have stuck around through this. If you do have any questions at all, please do leave them in the comment section. Like, I'm more than happy to try and like explain anything more in depth, or to just like, if you have any questions about something, then please just go nuts. More than happy to answer and more than happy to help. And if you feel like I've missed anything, you can leave your own information down there. And yeah, like more than happy. You know, we all need to like come together, and everyone has kind of things they don't know and stuff like that. So please do get involved. And if you did sit all the way through this, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like, as it does help me out a lot. And you know, I kind of enjoy talking for like 30 minutes about this class. I'd be happy to cover some more classes if people want me to. But I will say Beat Performer is kind of the one that I feel like I'm the most comfortable with. But I'm more than happy to branch into other classes and go from there. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I feel like I'm rambling. I hope all of you have an amazing day. And yeah, just let me know if you want to see anything else. Okay, bye-bye. Hello, past Cryo and everyone who just sat through like the near 30 minutes of me talking. I actually realized after I finished recording that I missed out on two kind of quite important things. So the first one is what gems you should be using. I'm going to go over these real quick so I don't take up too much more of your time. You want to be using the Intellect Diamonds, which give you luck as well. What I'm using at the moment, because it's the best available to us, is the Diamond Abyss 3. This is just going to be the best for us. And the other thing is going over the emblem, which is in our season hub. And in here, I did post a video of how to farm like void residue as well, so you can go check that out. So you've got to remember, adaptation is a really strong one. Nowhere in affinity. So adaptation and affinity are really strong, and resistance is also really nice. So these three are kind of like the main three to focus. through this. Honestly, Tenacity isn't terrible just because like the defense buff, but this is just me panicking, to be honest. I just want to make sure I have some defense going into it. But yeah, so these three are kind of like the main three you want to focus. Adaptation, resistance, and affinity. And this is going to be for when the master dungeons and stuff come out. Yeah, so make sure you're farming the void residue you need and getting this upgraded. Great, sorry to add on randomly at the end there, but I felt like that was important to say. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.